I want to introduce you to Tilly Norwood. She's young, she's beautiful, she's from Europe, and she's got over 52,000 followers on Instagram. She's about to take Hollywood by storm.
3 seasons and a podcast.
When I say she's young, I mean she's really young. She was born this year, 2025. She's not real. She was created by her parent company. But she's got actors and actresses worried for their futures. In fact, a couple of years ago, the actors and actresses in Hollywood went on strike over this very thing. They're worried that AI actresses or actors are going to take over their jobs. Movies, TV shows, commercials, they're all at risk because they can all be done now with AI. And all you have to do is look at the quality of the videos that existed, the AI videos that existed a couple of years ago versus what they look like today. It's night and day. The quality is phenomenal. Just imagine what it's going to look like a couple years from now. Now let me take you back to the early 1800s. At that time, for hundreds of years, people would hire portrait artists to make portraits of themselves, their family, whatever. They would hire a portrait artist who would come over and they would paint you, right? You'd probably have to sit still for hours at a time. I can't even imagine. But that's the way it was done. But then in the early 1800s, 1839 actually, photography was invented. Now, portrait artists were worried. They were going to lose their jobs. So they would argue, why would people want to have their photo taken? Because that's not real. There's no paint, right? There's no creativity involved. Why would anybody want that? They fought it, okay? They fought it hard because their livelihoods were at stake. But they didn't win. Technology won over. And eventually, portrait artists had to evolve. They had to change what they did because no longer were people paying the probably very expensive fees to hire a portrait artist. Instead, they would hire a photographer. So throughout the 1840s, 1850s, people would go to photography studios to get their photos taken, and that became a big business. But that didn't last either, because by the 1880s, Kodak invented film, and now photography became available to anybody, right? You could have your own camera, you would have your film developed, and you could essentially be your own photographer. Okay, so there's another group of people who were kind of displaced by technology. So what happened to the portrait artists? Well, they had to evolve, right? No longer were they getting as much business from people wanting their portraits painted. They evolved to things like things more creative, right? Abstract painting, for instance. Okay, they had to change what they did. So there were people who fought it, and then there were people who evolved, and the people who evolved were the more successful. And look no further than Kodak itself, very successful in the late 1800s and throughout a lot of the 20th century. But by the late 20th century, they also did not evolve. Technology brought forth the digital camera. Film was no longer needed. Digital photography, basically bankrupt Kodak. Kodak doesn't exist anymore. So now let me talk about YouTube. I understand change is hard, right? But change is inevitable. Technology gets developed whether you want it to or not. And that's the way I think about AI. AI is coming. AI is here, but it's going to continue to develop and get better as time goes on. So we have a choice. We can either fight it or try to evolve with it. And maybe we don't even know how to evolve with it yet. So I think what makes the most sense is to try to learn it, try to understand what's going on and what are the things that are changing, what are the tools that are available to us today, and what might be coming in the future. AI today is the worst it will ever be. Okay, so the AI videos that you see now, the thumbnails you see generated by AI, the videos themselves that you see generated by AI, the quality of those videos far exceeds the quality from 2 years ago, but today is the worst it's ever going to be if we look into the future. It's only going to get better. I actually just read a comment on the post that I just posted this morning about this video that I'm doing, and I'll read it for you, but I thought it was appropriate. It says, this is from a commenter, said, trying to stay away from anything related to AI. I'll catch you on your next video. I completely understand. that you don't want to have anything to do with AI. And I'm not just talking to one person individually, but anybody who feels that way, and there are a lot of people that feel that way. But I strongly discourage against trying to hide from it or pretend like it doesn't exist or that it's not coming. AI is here to stay. AI is coming for pretty much all of our jobs. Okay, no matter what you do, I believe your job is in jeopardy or at least in danger of changing due to AI. So we need to adapt. There are so many tools available to us as YouTubers, as content creators, AI tools. Okay, and I'm going to make a video on the best ones, the ones that I think are the best right now. That's going to change because it's changing so fast. It reminds me of the late 90s, 1999, 2000. Think of the dot-com bubble, right? Things were moving really fast. You had the internet that was basically just invented. Well, I mean, I guess it was invented like in the 1960s or 70s. Universities used it, but it didn't really hit the mainstream until the 1990s with the advent of like AOL, Netscape, right? Who remembers bid.com, ubid.com? Who remembers BlackBerry, right? There was a lot of hype. A lot of people made a lot of money in the stock market until the bubble burst. And when the bubble burst, that was like a big reset. So I almost look at today as being similar to before the dot-com bubble burst. I'm not an investment guy. I don't. I don't listen to me for investment advice, but I do see a lot of similarities between the 90s and now. And I feel like all of these tools that are coming out, like which ones are going to stick and which ones are not. Okay? Like if you look back at 1999 and you looked at like the best browser was probably Netscape. Maybe Internet Explorer was coming on. But Netscape was huge. AOL was huge. Okay? Dial-up internet. All right? All that's gone now. After the bubble burst, the dot-com bubble, out of the ashes of that were born companies like Facebook, Twitter or X, Google, YouTube, right? They came after that. All right, so a lot of the tools that we use today didn't even exist when the bubble was happening. And I feel like with AI, it's going to be very similar. I think all the tools that we're learning about now, although it's great to learn them, I don't know how many of them are going to stick around for the long term. And, again, that gets into, business, investing and all that stuff and what's a smart move. I think the smartest move is to just stay on top of it all and try to learn as much as you can. And that's hard. I find that hard, speaking as somebody who's in his 50s. And probably my heavy learning years are behind me. I don't like to think of it that way because I love to learn. I like to learn new things. But, I mean, the reality is age will catch up with all of us eventually. And we may not be as energetic as we get older. So I'm going to make it a bit of a mission of mine to try my best to stay on top of what's going on in the AI world from a YouTuber's perspective, but also from a guy in his 50s perspective. Okay? Like what happens 40, 50 years from now doesn't really affect me directly. Okay? It'll affect my kids, their kids, and so on. But change is happening in real time. And if you don't change what you do with it, then it's almost like you're giving up because things could change drastically in your profession. If you're a YouTuber as a creator, some of the things I see coming down the line for creators already today, you can create your own U-bot. Right? And now, I don't know if that's a coined term or if I watched somebody else's video on AI and where it's going, and that's the first place I've heard that term, a U-bot. Somebody else I had a conversation with last week or a couple weeks ago was along those same lines, and she never called it a U-bot, but what I'm talking about here, what this is you can basically create a clone of yourself, okay, that can do some of the work that you now have to do yourself, some of the tasks that you do. So, for example, what you can do today is you can create a clone of yourself, and the way you do that is you basically get an account, an AI account, and you create this thing, call it a U-bot, that you then train on yourself. How do you do that? Well, you can feed it all of the videos. If you're a creator, feed it all of the videos you've ever created. Okay? Maybe if you're a live streamer, feed it all of your live streams. Okay? Anything you've ever created, it could be documents, right? It could be spreadsheets, it can be video. Feed all that in, and it will learn you, and it will become a clone of you at that point. Okay? And you can continue to feed it new material as you make new material, and you're creating basically a bot, an online bot of yourself. Now, what can you do with this? Well, the way it was presented to me is you can basically put that clone of yourself out there that people could ask questions to and get an answer from. And that answer can come in the form of your voice today. Tomorrow, it'll come in the form of not just your voice, but your likeness. It'll look like you talking. And to the point, within a year or two, probably, people won't be able to tell the difference between that being a U-bot or it being actually me. I don't know what I feel about this. I don't know if I like that. In fact, I don't. I don't like that, because then there is, perhaps copies of me out there giving people advice that didn't come directly from me. It's a manufactured version of me. So not sure if I like that. However, I want to stay on top of it. I want to understand how it works. I don't want to be left behind, because even if that is not the final iteration that survives whatever bubble might be coming, some version of it will likely pop up in the future that will take hold. This other guy's video I watched talked about having several U-bots working as a team under you. Okay? How does that work? Right? So, that fascinates me, scares me, but I want to stay on top of it. And I strongly recommend you do the same. Whether you like, it's one of those things, right? It's coming. So what are you going to do? You going to run and hide from it, or do you want to maybe try to learn from it and understand what is coming? I suggest the latter. Now, back to YouTube specifically, though, and what I see coming. And this ties back into the last video I made, actually was on authenticity and how I think why I think that's so important to be authentic and make authentic videos with you in your videos. And you may think, well, Rob, what you're saying now is there's going to be a version of me later on that can do all this for me. And that may be true. And actually, this is not what I was about to say, but it just popped into my head. A scary thought would be, if you don't create your own U-bot, what if somebody else creates it for you? Not for you, but for them, but of you, right? People can create versions of you that will answer questions to others as if it was you. That's a scary thought. But you see what I mean? Like, there's probably going to have to be regulation, laws developed, right? To kind of not only harness this, but protect ourselves from it as well. But now back to YouTube and where I think this is going. As a creator who is in my own videos, or even if I'm not, right? Let's just talk about creators in general and what I see coming. I think faceless channels are in trouble. I think how-to or tutorial videos are in trouble, because what I see coming down eventually, probably only a couple years away, if it's not already here and I don't know about it, and that is videos on demand. So I'm not even talking about AI videos that you use AI tools to create. Okay, that's the way a lot of faceless channels are being made right now, or videos being made right now. You can use tools to make AI videos and upload them to your YouTube account. But again, if you think about YouTube and what it is, it's a business that a company is running to try to make money, and they make money when they sell ads on videos that people watch. Okay, that's it. So if that video is an AI video, I don't think YouTube cares. Right? I hear a lot of people saying that, oh, YouTube's going to have to start putting identification badges on videos, or people are going to have to declare if a video is AI or not. Why? I guess that's my question would be why. Why does YouTube have to say if a video was made by a real person or not? Right? If it's making them money, then what do they care? Yeah, you can be fooled. And yes, people, you're going to probably see videos that aren't, of, let's say, a celebrity saying something, but it's not really that person. And there could be some bad actors out there that use that technology, for their own good or to the detriment of, the original person. Again, that's all going to have to work itself out, and I don't know what the answers are. Nobody does. But the way I see YouTube going with the faceless channels and the how-to stuff, those I think will be the first ones to kind of fall by the wayside. I feel like there's a lot of people out there who use YouTube as a search engine. Like if you want to learn how to do something, you'll go to YouTube and you'll search for something, then you'll watch a video and you'll do the thing. You'll learn how to do whatever. But increasingly, people aren't going to YouTube for that. They're just going to ChatGPT. Maybe they're not getting a video, but they're getting written instructions, how to do the thing they want to learn how to do. Well, what about if you can go to a place, maybe that'll be YouTube, maybe not. I believe YouTube will want to be that place. But you ask a question and you're presented with a video on demand. Like this video will be rendered and created basically in real time to answer your question. Maybe some of these videos get made and they get stored so they can be called up quickly. But if you ask a question like for the first time ever, how to do a certain thing, maybe that video gets created on demand and it looks real. Then nobody had to create it. Okay? So how-to stuff. I don't know if I'd put a whole lot of stock into the future of creators making how-to videos. Don't know when this is coming, but I just feel like that's almost a natural place where this could go. So what do? What do creators do? How do we either avoid this or keep our jobs? Right? I mentioned AI is coming for jobs. My take on I'm concerned about the whole YouTube space because that's what I do. There's other jobs that are at risk as well. I mean, even manual labor jobs. I watched a video this morning where it talked about a highway in China was created, like a 150 kilometer long highway was created by AI, by robot machines did it. There were humans back in a control room kind of monitoring things to making sure everything got done right. But, the actual physical labor, they didn't need humans to do that. Okay? And that's today. So, this is only going to get more and more advanced. So what do we do? What do YouTubers and creators do? I'm going to fall back on the whole authenticity thing and getting yourself on camera and being yourself. Yes, maybe people will then be able to create another version of you and make videos of that. And I think we have to almost trust that, there's going to be some laws and regulations developed over time that'll kind of control that aspect of it. But my point is, I feel like there's still going to be a market for people being themselves online. So videos like the ones I make where I'm talking to the camera, communities like the community I've created where people can gather, and whether it's in my Creators Cove community or other people have school communities, Kajabi communities, or if it's in my live streams, right, where people gather and can chat in real time, ask me questions, I answer them. I think that kind of thing is not going anywhere. So I feel like that's the best path forward. If you can, if you want to be a creator, I think I think you need to do all you can to integrate yourself into your videos so that people can start connecting with you, the real person, before they start connecting with AI or connecting with other people, right? There's a real big, I see a lot of people who don't like AI and they want to stay away from it. They don't want to learn anything about it. And I've talked about why I don't think that's the smartest thing to do, but they just don't want to interact with it. They don't want to watch an AI video because it's cringy, right? Something's off. The first AI videos or portraits, let's say, would have hands with 7 fingers, right? It just looked off. But that's all getting worked out, and it's not going to look off. And there's going to come a time very soon where you're not going to be able to tell if it's an AI video or not. So again, I don't know where this is going. I just feel like the smartest thing to do is to try to stay connected with all this. Try to stay connected with your audience. Talk to them. Listen to them. Build a community. And keep creating. But do your best to put yourself in your videos. I think that's super important. And one more thing I want to talk about in terms of Tilly Norwood, just to kind of bring this full circle. A lot of people in the acting community in Hollywood are concerned, and their argument is that it's not fair, right? It's not fair. Look at this AI model. You know, she's beautiful, she's young, and this is today. You know, a year, 2 years from now, it'll look even less like AI. If you believe she looks like AI now, a lot of people, like to me, she looked very real. maybe to a trained eye, you can spot the differences and tell that it's AI, but pretty soon you won't be able to. So the argument that that's not fair. One could argue that actors and actresses who become very famous had an unfair advantage to begin with themselves. Okay? How many actors and actresses made it big in Hollywood based on their looks? Right? I think a lot. And so now the people who had that advantage and were perfectly fine with that advantage are now looking at competition in the face of AI competition, and are claiming, they're crying foul. It's not fair anymore. Things change. Technology develops. New things are coming out all the time. And I just don't think you do yourself any favors by complaining about it. You can be worried about it, sure, but I think the best thing to do is maybe to try to understand it as best as you can, and maybe start trying to think outside the box a little bit. Like maybe actors and actresses are going to have to evolve and change what they do, right? So maybe movies and TV shows and YouTube videos are going to be full of AI actors in the future. And so real people are going to have to do real people things, right? Think back to the portrait artists doing abstract paintings now that you can't capture that in a photo because it's abstract. It doesn't exist. So they're creating things. They're being creative. They evolved. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this. I'm committing to learning as much as I can about this stuff and to try to stay on top of it. Like I said earlier, when I thought I was wrapping this video up, but I just kept talking. I'm going to look at it from my perspective, from somebody in their 50s who may have less life ahead of them than I have behind me, but will still likely be affected by this. Okay? I'm going to try to look at it through that lens. I mean, it's the only lens I've got, but I'm going to try to present it to you in that lens and try to tell you or give you my opinion on what I think is important to pay attention to. And I'm going to show you some tools. I think one of the next videos I'm going to make is going over some of the awesome and fantastic tools, AI tools that are available. Not to say they're going to stick around, because who knows? Who knows when that bubble's going to burst? And I do believe it probably will happen, but I'm not a fortune teller. Anyways, if you've made it this far, I appreciate you. Thank you very much. If you're new here, my name is Rob. It's nice to meet you. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks, guys.